Hey guys, today we're going to be looking at main idea and supporting details. What is it and how does it work? Well, the main idea is the most important point an author is trying to make to the reader, or what is the story mostly about that you're reading? When it comes to supporting details, these are statements that are made by the author that proves or backs up the point they're trying to make to the reader. These statements may explain a point that's being made as well. So I kind of liken main idea to a table. A table that doesn't have support, well, it doesn't work very well. It's just a flat board on a floor. Well, the main idea is the same way. In order for it to work, in order for your reader to really believe it, it needs lots of support, lots of ways to prove or explain why you feel what you feel. So, for example, if I said to you, Michael Jordan is one of the best basketball players ever because he accomplished more than most that have played the game, he's one of the best because he won a dunk competition, well, that stinks. That really doesn't have a lot of support to back up why I feel that he's accomplished more than anyone else that has actually played the game. That's like the table that only has one leg, it's not working well. But if I said to you, Michael Jordan is one of the best basketball players ever because he's accomplished more than most who have ever played the game. For example, he's one of the few to be a 6-time NBA champion. He won numerous offensive and defensive awards. He was nominated to the All-Star team over 13 times. He was known for his ability to take over a game and for his athletic style of play, which included some spectacular dunks. That's why Michael Jordan is one of the best ever. Well, suddenly that seems to make more sense, right? I've explained or backed up the main idea that he's accomplished more than most who have ever played the game because there's lots of details for you to see or support that makes my statement make sense to you. And that's how main idea works. All authors do it because they want you to believe that what they're saying is actually true or that it's believable. That's how they back up what they're saying. So, how do we find the main idea? Well, we're going to look at the title. We're going to look at the first and last sentence of a paragraph. We're going to ask ourselves what words pop up the most, or are there any words that go together? And lastly, we're going to ask ourselves, what is the paragraph mostly about? These are going to be the techniques we use to figure this out. Let's go ahead and look at an example together. Okay, so looking at the title, right away it says Camel Adaptations. Now, when I think about that, I can assume from the title that this is going to be about camels, and I can assume that it's going to be about adaptations. And adapt means to change or to adjust to something. So let's go ahead and start reading here. Camels have special adaptations that help them live in the desert. For example, camels actually have 3 eyelids and 2 rows of eyelashes to protect their eyes from sand that may drift into them. Also, to keep sand out of their nose, they can close their nostrils too. At night, the temperature drops quite a bit in the desert. Camels can handle this change because they have thick fur all over their body, which helps them to stay warm. Okay, so right away I have some metacognition going on here, some thinking as I read. First of all, I find it amazing that in order to keep the sand out of their nose, that they can close their nostrils. That's pretty amazing. I mean, wow. It makes me wonder, how long can they actually breathe if they do that? I mean, do they end up breathing through their mouth? I mean, just some thoughts I have. But anyway, so back to main idea now. So if we look at the first sentence, it says camels have special adaptations that help them to live in the desert. Well, was it mostly about that? Was it mostly about how they adapt to living in the desert? You know, that actually makes quite a bit of sense. Because if I think about it, it talks about different ways it's adjusted to being in this environment. I mean, if you think about it, they've got the 2 rows of eyelashes and the 3 eyelids. Then you've got the ability to close their nostrils. They've also got the fur on their body. But let's look at the last sentence. Camels can handle this change because they have thick fur all over their body, which helps them to stay warm. So looking at that last sentence, Is this reading passage mostly about how camels have fur all over their body? No, because remember the main idea is mostly what the passage is about. And looking at this, it's mostly about camels and how they're adapting to living in the desert. That's what we see. So I actually think that the first sentence where it says camels have special adaptations that help them live in the desert is the main idea. And then if we look at supporting details, well, we can see that we have several of those. We have the part where we have that camels actually have 3 eyelids and 2 rows of eyelashes to protect their eyes from the sand. The next part that we have is where they can keep sand out of their nostrils so that it doesn't get clogged up. Then we have the part where they can have all that thick fur over their body in order to stay warm. So it makes quite a bit of sense for me that the first sentence is our main idea for this passage. Okay, so now that we handled something with nonfiction, let's go ahead and look at fiction. It's going to be the same process. We're still going to be looking at the title, still looking at the first and last sentence, still asking ourselves what keywords pop up or what is it mostly about. So right away, looking at the title, we see that it says Family Rocks or My Family Rocks. So we know this has to deal with the author's family and that they have a pretty positive view of that family for the author to say rocks. Let's go ahead and take a look at the passage now. This weekend is going to be so awesome. We're going to my uncle's house and my entire family is going to be there. I can't wait to see my cousins because we'll spend most of the day playing games together like volleyball, soccer, and dodgeball. If it's hot enough, we'll probably have a water fight too. Oh, I love those. My uncle loves to cook, so we'll have a huge cookout in his backyard. We'll all bring side dishes, and my grandparents always bring the best desserts. While we'll play, the adults will laugh and talk with each other, and in the evening, we'll turn on fast music and probably light fireworks. We always have such a good time together. Okay, so right away, what are some things to look at? So we've got the first sentence. This weekend is going to be so awesome. Is it mostly about the weekend? Yeah, I could see that. But what about the part where it says family in the title? So I'm not exactly sure that's exactly what the main idea is. Let's look at that last sentence. We always have such a great time together. Or I'm sorry, we always have such a good time together. I'm not sure that's it either. So I think there's more for us to look at here. And sometimes this happens. This is where main idea is really tricky, is where it isn't actually directly stated. So when it's not directly stated, we have to go back to the passage, reread, and infer or make an educated guess on what we think the main idea actually is. And in order to do that too, we're going to have to do what we do when we do close reading. We're going to have to think what words would more than likely go together in the passage. So looking back at the passage here, I see the word family pop up. And with family, we have the words cousin, uncle, grandparents. And so we do see that through the actual reading quite a bit. So I believe that somehow family would need to be included into the actual main idea. Now let's look at that word awesome for a minute. What was going to make the weekend so awesome? Well, let's look at those supporting details or a way to prove or back up what would be so awesome. You've got playing games like volleyball, soccer, and dodgeball, the water fight, the huge cookout, which you guys know I'd be a big fan of, the desserts, also a problem I have, and then the fast music and the lighting of the fireworks. That would be absolutely awesome to be a part of. So now it's time to put it all together, and that's what you have to do when you have to infer what the unstated main idea is. You've got to put the pieces together. So let's look at it. The author wants us to know that his or her weekend is going to be awesome because they get to spend it with their family doing fun activities. That's the main idea. And notice it's unstated, it wasn't written in there. We had to put those pieces together. The supporting details, though, would be the fun activities that they're hoping to do with certain family members. This explains or backs up the main idea. So, guys, I hope that helps you understand main idea a little bit more and also unstated main idea. Now it's time for you guys to practice it on your own.